Reading through the Bible in a year, April 26th, Numbers chapter 3, Psalm 37, Song of Solomon, or Song of Songs, chapter 1, and Hebrews chapter 1. These are the generations of Aaron and Moses at the time when Yahweh spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai. These are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the sons of Aaron, the anointed priest, whom he ordained to serve as priests. But Nadab and Abihu died before Yahweh when they offered unauthorized fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests in the lifetime of Aaron their father. Now, this next section we're going to go into talks about the different clans of the people of Levi. And specifically, what the clans are supposed to do in their, basically, work before Yahweh. Who's allowed to touch what, and all of the very specific rules about those things. We're going to go over that over the next, the 2 chapters, really. And one thing to note, if you know the story of Uzzah and the Ark of God, as David was attempting to bring it into Jerusalem, as this comes much further in the future, Uzzah put his hand to the ark and was struck down by God. A lot of people say, well, that's because the dirt was cleaner and he was a dirty man. No. It all ties back to these 2 chapters. It all ties back to his role as a Levite, as a person of the Levitical family, and what his family was allowed to touch and what he wasn't allowed to touch. He violated God's command without even realizing it. This happens 1,000 years in the future. Well, might be 500. It's a long time in the future that this thing occurs, and God still cares so much about his purity that he struck this man dead for violating something that was stated here. Verse 5, And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Bring near the tribe of Levi, and set them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister to him. They shall keep guard over him and over the whole congregation before the tent of meeting, as they minister in the tabernacle. They shall guard all the furnishings of the tent of meeting and keep guard over the people of Israel as they minister in the tabernacle. And you shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are wholly given to him from among the people of Israel. And you shall appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall guard the priesthood, or their priesthood. But if an outsider comes near, he shall be put to death. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Behold, I have taken the Levites from among the people of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens the womb among the people of Israel. The Levites shall be mine, for all the firstborn are mine. On the day that I struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I consecrated for my own all the firstborn in Israel, both of man and of beast. They shall be mine. I am Yahweh. And Yahweh spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, List the sons of Levi by fathers' houses and by clans. Every male from a month old and upward you shall list. So Moses listed them according to the word of Yahweh, as he was commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershon by their clans: Libni, or Libni, and Shimei, or Shimei. And the sons of Kohath by their clans: Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their clans: Mahli and Mushi. These are the clans of the Levites by their fathers' houses. To Gershon belonged the clan of the Libnites, and the clan of the Shimeites. These were the clans of the Gershonites. Their listing, according to the number of the males from a month old and upward, say this is a month old, not 20 years old, was 7,500. The clans of the Gershonites were to camp behind the tabernacle on the west, with Eliasaph, the son of Lael, as the chief of the father's house of the Gershonites. And the guard duty of the sons of Gershon in the tent of meeting involved the tabernacle, the tent with its covering, the screen for the entrance of the tent of meeting, the hangings of the court, the screen for the door of the court that is around the tabernacle and the altar. Scrolled right past where I was. Again, I love Logos, but sometimes you're scrolling and it just shoots right past where you are. Yes, okay, back to verse 26 here. Talking about the things that the family of Gershon is supposed to guard and take care of. The hangings of the court, the screen for the door of the court that is around the tabernacle and the altar, and its cords and all the service connected with these. To Kohath belonged the clan of the Amramites, and the clan of the Izharites, and the clan of the Hebronites, and the clan of the Uzzielites. These are the clans of the Kohathites. According to the number of all the males from a month old and upward, were 8,600, keeping guard over the sanctuary. The clans of the sons of Kohath were to camp on the south side of the tabernacle, with Elizaphan, the son of Uzziel, as chief of the father's house of the clan of the Kohathites. And their guard duty involved the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the vessels of the sanctuary, with which the priest minister, and the screens and all the service connected with these. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, was to be chief over the chiefs of the Levites, and to have oversight over those who kept guard over the sanctuary. To Merari belonged the clan of the Mahlites and the clan of the Mushites. These are the clans of Merari. Their listing, according to the number of all the males from a month old and upward, was 6,200. And the chief of the father's house of the clans of Merari was Zuriel, the son of Abihail. And they were to camp on the north side of the tabernacle. And the appointed guard duty of the sons of Merari involved the frames of the tabernacle, the bars, the pillars, the bases, and all their accessories, all the service connected with these. Also, the pillars around the court, with their bases and pegs and cords. Those who were to camp before the tabernacle on the east, before the tent of meeting toward the sunrise, were Moses and Aaron and his sons, according to the sanctuary itself, to protect the people of Israel, and any outsider who came near was to be put to death. All those listed among the Levites, whom Moses and Aaron listed at the commandment of Yahweh, by clans, all the males from a month old and upward, were 22,000. And Yahweh said to Moses, "List all the firstborn males of the people of Israel, from a month old and upward, taking the number of their names. And you shall take the Levites for me. I am Yahweh. Instead of all the firstborn among the people of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites, instead of all the firstborn of the cattle of the people of Israel." So Moses listed all the firstborn among the people of Israel, as Yahweh had commanded him. And all the firstborn males, according to the number of names, from a month old and upward, were listed as 22,273. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the people of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of their cattle. The Levites shall be mine. I am Yahweh." And as the redemption price for the 273 of the firstborn of the people of Israel, over and above the number of the male Levites, you shall take 5 shekels per head. You shall take them according to the shekel of the sanctuary. The shekel is 20 gerahs. And give the money to Aaron and to his sons as the redemption price for those who are over. So Moses took the redemption money from those who are over and above those redeemed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the people of Israel who took the money, 1,365 shekels by the shekel of the sanctuary. And Moses gave the redemption money to Aaron and to his sons, according to the word of Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moses. Now Psalm 37. Fret not yourselves because of evildoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in Yahweh and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in Yahweh, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to Yahweh. Trust in him, and he will act. He will bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your justice as the noonday. Be still before Yahweh, and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the man who carries out evil devices. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. For the evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait for Yahweh shall inherit the land. In just a little while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. But the meek shall inherit the land, and delight themselves in abundant peace. The wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes his teeth at him. But Yahweh laughs at the wicked, for he sees that his day is coming. The wicked draw the sword and bend their bows to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose way is upright. Their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. Better is the little that the righteous has than the abundance of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but Yahweh upholds the righteous. Yahweh knows the days of the blameless, and their heritage will remain forever. They are not put to shame in evil times. In the days of famine they have abundance. But the wicked will perish. The enemies of Yahweh are like the glory of the pastures. They vanish. Like smoke, they vanish away. The wicked borrows, but does not pay back. But the righteous is generous and gives. For those blessed by Yahweh shall inherit the land, but those cursed by him shall be cut off. The steps of a man are established by Yahweh, when he delights in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be cast headlong, for Yahweh upholds his hand. I have been young and now am old. Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, or his children begging for bread. He is ever lending generously, and his children become a blessing. Turn away from evil and do good, so shall you dwell forever. For Yahweh loves justice. He will not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever, but the children of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell upon it forever. The mouth of the righteous utters wisdom, and his tongue speaks justice. The law of his God is in his heart. His steps do not slip. The wicked watches for the righteous and seeks to put him to death. Yahweh will not abandon him to his power, or let him be condemned when he is brought to trial. Wait for Yahweh to keep his way, and he will exalt you to inherit the land. You will look on when the wicked are cut off. I have seen a wicked, ruthless man spreading himself like a green laurel tree. But he passed away, and behold, he was no more. Though I sought him, he could not be found. Mark the blameless, and behold the upright, for there is a future for the man of peace. But the transgressors will be altogether destroyed. The future of the wicked shall be cut off. The salvation of the righteous is from Yahweh. He is their stronghold in the time of trouble. Yahweh helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them, because they take refuge in him. Now, Song of Solomon, or Song of Songs, chapter 1. Let's go ahead and read the introduction. According to the most common interpretation, the Song of Solomon, or Song of Songs, is a collection of love poems between a man and a woman, celebrating the sexual relationship that God intended for marriage. God established marriage, including the physical union of a husband and wife, and Israelite wisdom literature treasures this aspect of marriage as the appropriate expression of human sexuality. The Song of Solomon has also been understood as an illustration or an illusion, of the mutual love of Christ and his church. It is possible that Solomon is the author. However, this verse, as in verse 1, chapter 1, verse 1, could mean that the song was dedicated to Solomon or written about him, and therefore many scholars regard the book as anonymous. Let's begin. Verse 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Now this goes kind of back and forth, and normally I don't read the non-biblical text here, but it will help to kind of break up what's being said. So prior to verse 2 through 4 it begins, she. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. Your anointing oils are fragrant. Your name is oil poured out. Therefore virgins love you. Draw me after you. Let us run. The king has brought me into his chambers. Others. We will exult and rejoice in you. We will extol your love more than wine. Rightly do they love you. She. I am very dark but lovely. O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not gaze at me because I am dark, because the sun has looked upon me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard I have not kept. Tell me, you whom my soul loves, where you pasture your flock, where you make it lie down at noon. For why should I be like the one who veils herself, beside the flocks of your companions? He, if you do not know, O most beautiful among women, follow in the tracks of the flock, and pasture your young goats beside the shepherd's tents. I compare you, my love, to a mare among Pharaoh's chariots. Your cheeks are lovely with ornaments, your neck with strings of pearls, with strings of jewels. Others. We will make for you ornaments of gold studded with silver. She. While the king was on his couch, my nard gave forth its fragrance. My beloved is to me a sachet of myrrh that lies between my breasts. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms in the vineyards of En-gedi. He. Behold, you are beautiful, my love. Behold, you are beautiful, your eyes are doves. She. Behold, you are beautiful, my beloved, truly delightful. Our couch is green, the beams of our house are cedar, our rafters are pine. I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. And that's all to here. Let's move on to Hebrews chapter 1. All right, let's go ahead and read the introduction on this one. The letter to the Hebrews was written to encourage Christians in a time of trial. It does so by focusing on the absolute supremacy and sufficiency of Jesus Christ. Well, God spoke in the past many ways, many times and in many ways. He has now spoken to us by his Son, Jesus Christ, who is the exact imprint of God's nature and who upholds the universe by the word of his power. Jesus accomplished complete salvation for all who trust in him. We dare not neglect such a great salvation. Rather, in our faith and in our everyday living, we should imitate the example of Christ and of those who on the honor roll of faith, chapters 11 through 13. This letter, whose author is unknown, was probably written between AD 60 and 70. That said, if you are the first time reading through this, you'll notice that it sounds a lot like Paul's letters. So there are some people who take this text and they go, oh, well, it's just another one of Paul's letters. However, there are some deep distinctions here. Paul would not simply say, oh, well, as it says somewhere. I'll tell you where it's said. Why? Because he was a Pharisee. He was somebody who had been so intimately acquainted with Scripture that he could quote it verbatim. He wouldn't simply say, oh, as it says somewhere, or as others have said. In fact, we're going to see that here in this first and tomorrow in the second chapter. So, my personal view is that this was possibly written by Tychicus, who had written many of Paul's letters. So it would have the same sound as being given, but Tychicus, from what we understand, was a Gentile. And this is being written from the experience, or at least the sound of experience, from a fellow Hebrew. So the main story behind this is that people under intense persecution from the Jews were being tempted to reject their faith in Christ, to outwardly tell people that they no longer believe that Jesus was the Mashiach, the Messiah, the anointed one of God. But secretly within their hearts, they would still believe that he was the Christ. But the author of Hebrews, it's how I'm going to refer to whoever wrote this, wrote it in such a way, not wrote in such a way, but he wrote to encourage them to not reject their faith before Christ. So let's go ahead and begin. Verse 1. Long ago, at many times and in many ways, God spoke to our fathers by the prophets. But in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed the heir of all things, through whom he also created the world. He is the radiance of the glory of God and the exact imprint of his nature, and he upholds the universe by the word of his power. After making purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high, having become as much superior to angels as the name he has inherited is much more excellent than theirs. For to which of the angels did God ever say, "You are my son, today I have begotten you"? Or again, "I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son"? And again, when he brings the firstborn into the world, he says, "Let all God's angels worship him." Of the angels, he says, he makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire. But of the Son, he says, "Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of uprightness is the scepter of your kingdom. You have loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of gladness beyond your companions. And you, Lord, laid the foundation of the earth in the beginning, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. They will all wear out like a garment, and like a robe you will roll them up. Like a garment they will be changed, but you are the same, and your years have no end, or will have no end. And to which of the angels has he ever said, "Sit at my right hand, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet"? Are they not all ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who are to inherit salvation? That's it for today. That's all the reading and all of the notes. Strongly recommend you pause and read through all the notes on this book. It will help you a lot. That said, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold the word of the Lord.